Susie took a deep breath as she stood in front of the supermarket. It was her first time grocery shopping alone in America. She had moved from Brazil just 2 weeks ago to study English, and everything still felt new and scary. "You can do this, Susie," she whispered to herself in Portuguese. Then, determined to practice her English, she repeated, "I can do this." With shaky hands, Susie grabbed a shopping cart and pushed it through the automatic doors. The cool air inside the store made her shiver slightly. She looked around, feeling overwhelmed by the size of the supermarket and the countless products on the shelves. An elderly woman with kind eyes noticed Susie's hesitation. "First time here, dear?" she asked with a gentle smile. Susie nodded, relieved to hear a friendly voice. "Yes," she replied, her accent thick. "I'm new in America." "Oh, welcome," the woman exclaimed. "I'm Betty. Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. Do you have a shopping list?" Susie's eyes widened. She had forgotten to make a list. "Oh no," she said, feeling embarrassed. "I forgot." Betty patted her arm reassuringly. "That's okay. Let's start with the basics. What do you need?" Susie thought for a moment, then slowly said, "Bread, eggs, milk, and maybe some fruit?" "Perfect." Betty smiled. "Let's start with the bread aisle. It's right over there." She pointed to a sign hanging from the ceiling. As they walked, Betty explained, "In American supermarkets, we have signs to help you find things. Can you read that one?" Susie squinted at the sign. "B Bakery," she pronounced carefully. "Very good," Betty praised. "The bakery is where we find bread and other baked goods." They reached the bread aisle, and Susie's eyes widened at the variety. There were so many types: white bread, whole wheat, rye, sourdough, and more. "Which one should I choose?" Susie asked, feeling confused. Betty chuckled. "That depends on what you like. Whole wheat is healthier, but many people prefer white bread. Why don't you try this one?" She handed Susie a loaf of whole wheat bread. Susie read the label slowly. Whole wheat bread. "Okay, I'll try it." As they continued shopping, Betty patiently explained different products and helped Susie practice her English. They picked up a carton of eggs, careful not to break them, and Susie learned the difference between dozen and half dozen. In the dairy section, Susie was amazed by the varieties of milk. "In Brazil, we just have 1 or 2 types," she explained. Betty nodded understandingly. "Here we have whole milk, low-fat, skim, and even alternatives like almond or soy milk. Which one would you like to try?" Susie chose a carton of low-fat milk, carefully pronouncing each word on the label. As they approached the fruit section, Susie's face lit up. The colorful display of fresh produce reminded her of the markets back home. She confidently picked up some bananas, apples, and oranges. "Look at you," Betty exclaimed. "You're already shopping like a pro." Susie beamed with pride. She was doing it. She was grocery shopping in English. As they walked through the aisles, Susie became more confident. She started asking Betty questions about different products, practicing her pronunciation and learning new words. "What's this?" Susie asked, pointing to a jar of peanut butter. "That's peanut butter," Betty explained. "It's very popular here. Do you have it in Brazil?" Susie shook her head. "No, I've never tried it." "Oh, you must," Betty insisted. "It's delicious on toast or with apple slices." Excited to try something new, Susie added the jar to her cart. As they approached the checkout, Susie felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She had successfully filled her cart with groceries, but now she had to pay for them. "Don't worry," Betty reassured her. "I'll help you through the checkout process." They got in line, and Susie watched carefully as the cashier scanned each item. When it was her turn, she greeted the cashier with a shy hello. The cashier smiled warmly. "Hello. Did you find everything okay today?" Susie glanced at Betty, who nodded encouragingly. "Yes, thank you," Susie replied, her confidence growing. As the cashier scanned her items, Susie practiced saying the names of each product. Bread, eggs, milk, bananas, apples, oranges, peanut butter, she recited quietly. When it came time to pay, Susie fumbled with her wallet, still not entirely familiar with American currency. Betty gently helped her identify the different bills and coins. "That'll be $37.52, the cashier announced. Susie carefully counted out two $20 bills and handed them to the cashier. "Is this enough?" she asked uncertainly. The cashier nodded. "Yes, that's perfect. Your change is $2.48. As they left the store, Susie felt a surge of accomplishment. She had done it. She had successfully gone grocery shopping in English. "Thank you so much, Betty," Susie said, her eyes shining with gratitude. "I couldn't have done this without you." Betty smiled warmly. "You're very welcome, dear. You did wonderfully. And remember, every time you come here, you'll get better and better." As Susie walked home with her groceries, she couldn't stop smiling. She had faced her fear and succeeded. She had learned so many new words and phrases. But more than that, she had made a friend. That evening, as Susie unpacked her groceries, she felt a newfound sense of belonging. She made herself a peanut butter sandwich and took a bite. The rich, creamy taste was unlike anything she had tried before. As she savored it, Susie realized that this was more than just a sandwich. It was a symbol of her new life in America, full of new experiences and opportunities. She picked up her phone and opened her translation app. Carefully, she typed out a message to her family back in Brazil. "Dear Mom and Dad, today I went grocery shopping all by myself. Well, not completely by myself. I made a new friend named Betty who helped me. I learned so many new English words: bread, eggs, milk, fruit, peanut butter, and more. I was scared at first, but I did it. I even talked to the cashier in English. I'm so proud of myself, and I know you would be too. America is different from Brazil in many ways, but people here are kind." Betty reminded me of Grandma with her patience and warm smile. "I miss you all so much, but I'm excited about my new adventure. Today made me realize that I can do this. I can learn English, make friends, and build a life here. Oh, and I tried peanut butter for the first time. It's delicious. I'll bring some home when I visit. Love you all. Susie." As she pressed send, Susie felt a warmth in her heart. She was thousands of miles from home, but she was growing, learning, and experiencing new things every day. And it all started with a simple trip to the grocery store. That night, as Susie drifted off to sleep, she dreamed of aisles filled with colorful fruits, friendly faces, and endless possibilities. In her dream, she was fluent in English, confidently navigating not just the supermarket, but her entire new life in America. The next morning, Susie woke up feeling refreshed and motivated. She looked at the calendar on her wall and circled a date 1 week from now. Next to it, she wrote in careful English, "Next grocery trip alone." She knew it would be challenging, but after yesterday's experience, she felt ready to take on anything. Susie realized that learning a new language and adapting to a new culture was like filling an empty shopping cart, one item at a time, until suddenly you have everything you need. With a smile, Susie got ready for her English class, excited to share her grocery store adventure with her teacher and classmates. She couldn't wait to practice the new words she had learned, and maybe even teach them about peanut butter. As she left her apartment, Susie took one last look at her successfully unpacked groceries. They weren't just food items anymore. They were trophies of her first real-world English test, and she had passed with flying colors. Susie stepped out into the morning sunshine, ready to embrace another day in her new home. She knew there would be more challenges ahead, more moments of confusion and self-doubt. But now she also knew that with each small victory, like buying groceries, she was one step closer to making her dreams come true. And so, with her head held high and a peanut butter sandwich in her bag, Susie set off to conquer another day in America, one English word at a time.